So yesterday when I was speaking with Finance Minister Eric Girard, breaking down some of the things in the budget, I asked about public transit because we've already seen reaction from a variety of groups, including the municipal mayors, Valerie Plante weighing in on the fact that there just wasn't a whole lot in there, and didn't really get much of an answer from Minister Girard other than, there's an existing plan and they're talking and they're in discussions. But we know, too, that there's a huge deficit now in the system as is. So without new money, I imagine that's only going to get worse. There's already the talk now, I actually read this morning, of potential cuts, which may reduce service even more. Francis Garnier is representing the public transit advocacy group L'Alliance Transit. He's on the line. Mr. Garnier, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What is your big concern over what you didn't hear or didn't see coming in this budget as far as transit is concerned?
Well, our concern is twofold. On the first front, there's the lack of guarantee and predictability on the operation front. And there's a second one on the capital investment side, which is simply very disappointing and lacking. So for the first one you mentioned already with Plante, for example, among many other mayors across Quebec that came out to say how worried and disappointed they are because there's simply no predictability, no guarantee of what the funding will be to maintain and to operate all our buses and metros. And this is very problematic because we've been promised for many, many years already by the government that we're going to have a multi-year program. It's been called a 5-year program, and then we're just trying to know what's the year ahead. But without any promises, without any guarantees, we're risking to have, like you mentioned, service cuts. But in fact, really, we just don't know what we're going to get. And yes, there's several $100 million that are there's a gap of several $100 million in the budget for the Greater Montreal. The government doesn't want to fulfill it for eternity. They don't want to always complete the amount for it. That's possible. They're allowed to do that. But they have to come up also with a solution for transition. They have to say how much they're going to put, for how long, and how the phase-out will be, and how much they expect the cities or the riders to provide for that to be kept.
I would ask a dumb question like, why do you think the government is doing this? And I understand that obviously when you're running an $11 billion deficit, despite the fact the government went out of its way to say, oh, don't worry, there won't be any service cuts, it seems like exactly that will happen by virtue of the fact that they're not putting any new money into this.
Absolutely. In fact, we are already seeing service cuts. I'm not sure if you've ridden the metro recently, but you might have noticed it's usually full, even if you're going outside of rush hour. So the uncertainty that we had already from last year is already affecting us. We're already seeing all the impacts of it. And I'm not sure if you recall, but we heard stuff like the metro is going to close at 11, bus lines will be suspended and stuff. We're playing in the same movie all over again. And we're really looking forward to some engagement and promises from the government to be able to go beyond that and to have some stability, some predictability. Because in fact, we shouldn't be talking about service cuts. We should be talking about service growth. We should be talking about new investment, new infrastructures. But we're quite far from that.
Can I ask, at some point in this, and I've talked about this in different areas that the government deals in, it seems there's so little consultation between the groups directly affected and whoever in the government is responsible for it. Had there been talks that you're aware of? Had you been involved in any talks with this government on what's necessary to keep public transit, afloat?
I mean, we hear a lot of the numbers that are going on the public place, but of what I'm aware, of what I'm hearing, you're right, there's very little communication between the different parties, and that just precipitates the worries of everyone. That just makes everyone quite worried for the commute, for the riders, and users should be worried too about the quality of their service.
Well, thank you for painting such a grim picture of what's going to be happening as far as public transit is concerned. I know everyone's upset. The government doesn't seem too upset right now. I don't know if this changes anything. I mean, in terms of cuts, can you actually see something coming fairly quickly here? I thought I read that we're running roughly a $500 million deficit already here. And with no new money, I can't imagine how much longer you can sustain the kind of service we have right now.
It's impossible, in fact. We can't overcome a $500 million without any solutions, that's for sure. But we're going to have to find new solutions, not just with the government, but also with the cities, also with organizations, and perhaps with alternate sources of funding. Like we've been promoting, for example, to index the tax on gas and on immatriculation. There's many other solutions out there, but that one's easily achievable,
right,
and could help provide a big part of the chunk that's missing.
Didn't the government last week cut the what you pay for registration of your car? Didn't we all get money back, or they cut it by $25 or something? Do you not remember? Did that happen?
Yeah, no, you're referring to the reduction in the immatriculation
Yeah.
fees. They've been saying that because this budget is entirely within the SAEQ, it doesn't really connect with the rest of the budget. But in fact, we have seen basically a gift of $600 million that was given there. And I believe this is the third year in a row that they've been doing this, whereas that would have basically provided the whole deficit right there.
Look, it doesn't get any worse than this. All right, thank you. Like I said, I'm kidding, but thank you for all the bad news as far as public transit goes. Not your fault. Yeah, Francis.
I hope this is the bottom of the barrel.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Take good care.